Andrew Carnegie said, if you want to be happy, set a goal that commands your thoughts, liberates your energies, and inspires your hopes. And I can totally resonate with those words, whether I'm working on a new book, striving to grow my business, or trying to stay healthy. Pushing myself through goals, targets, timelines, it often leads me to professional and even personal success. And this applies to others as well. Sometimes when you're mentoring a team member, challenging a friend, or even trying to be a responsible parent, your job is to see the very best in people, even when they don't see it in themselves, and call it out of them. So based on this, it'd be pretty easy to conclude that expectations are where it's at. At the end of the day, if you want to experience high performance, effective leaders just need to push themselves and others to achieve their full potential. But here's the thing. Thought leader Brené Brown seems to dispute this when she writes, disappointment is unmet expectations. The more significant the expectation, the more significant the disappointment. Author Anne Lamott goes one step further to say, expectations are resentments under construction. So the question becomes, as a leader, do high expectations help or hurt your pursuit of high performance? The answer is, it depends. Having high expectations is helpful so long as you hold these expectations in tension with grace. Having grace means you're striving for understanding and empathy. It means that you're extending unconditional acceptance and forgiveness. Expectations and grace are a package deal. One without the other will always work against you as a leader. See, having expectations can lead to growth, constant improvement. It creates a results-oriented, high accountability culture. But when you over-focus on expectations and you neglect grace and empathy, people feel like they're just valued for their productivity. They start to play it safe because they fear making mistakes. And ultimately, this creates a culture of burnout and stress. Extending grace allows people to feel understood and valued, which makes them more willing to take risks. This creates a culture of trust and psychological safety. But when you over-focus on grace and you neglect expectations, people fail to tap into their very best. Opportunities are missed, and your culture is one of low accountability and mediocrity. Finding healthy tension between expectations and grace is the paradox of high performance. Reflect on your thoughts and your actions this past season, even the past few weeks. Have you had a high and healthy level of expectation on yourself and those around you? At the same time, have you been understanding and embraced high levels of grace? I bet you can find yourself hanging out in one of these four quadrants more than the others. Now, I hope this isn't the case, but it's possible that right now you're struggling on both fronts. You're low on expectations and you're low on grace. I refer to this quadrant as being coasting, but at the same time critical. Not a good place to be. Now, you might say, no, I have no shortage of expectations on myself, on others, but I'm struggling on the grace side of things. You're pretty low on acceptance and understanding. I call this quadrant being driven and disappointed all the time. Or you might be saying the opposite is true. You have high levels of grace, no shortage of empathy and acceptance, but your expectations are low. You're just not pushing yourself and others maybe as hard as you could be or what they're capable of. I call this being understanding, but at the same time underperforming. Some of you would say no to all of these options. You'd say right now you're doing a pretty solid job of managing this tension. You've got high expectations on yourself as a leader and on your team, and you've got just as high levels of grace and understanding. I call this being supportive and striving. Regardless of where you are right now, the goal is to spend more and more time in this fourth quadrant to be supportive and striving. Remember, finding healthy tension between expectations and grace doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. And when leaders and organizations choose to push themselves and each other and extend empathy and understanding at the same time, they outperform those who don't.